My boyfriend, let's call him Jake, and I have been together for nearly 4 years. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but overall, we've been genuinely happy. He's everything I could ask for: caring, supportive, tall, handsome, and always puts my needs first. He even told me I could quit my job if I wanted to focus on other things, which shows how much he cares about my well-being. 3 months ago, we decided to take the next step and moved in together. At first, everything was great. We enjoyed setting up our new place, cooking together, and just being around each other more. But somewhere along the line, I started feeling restless. I can't quite pinpoint why, but I began to feel bored and unfulfilled, even though Jake was doing everything right. Around that time, I started going for morning runs to clear my head. One day I met a man, I'll call him Adam, who was also out running. He's in his early 40s but looks younger, fit, charismatic, and there was an immediate connection. We started running together regularly. I found myself delaying my runs just so I could coincide with his schedule. I noticed he wore a wedding band, but I chose not to ask about it. One morning after a particularly long run, Adam suggested we grab a coffee. We talked for hours and there was a palpable chemistry between us. He eventually propositioned me, and despite knowing it was wrong, I accepted. We went back to his place and had hot sex. The moment it was over and the euphoria lifted, I felt so very guilty. I felt dirty and disgusted with myself. I stopped going on my morning runs after the day to avoid seeing him, but Adam was persistent. He started messaging me constantly, even though I tried to ignore him. One day he showed up at my door when Jake was at work. I was terrified and told him to leave. I insisted that what happened was a mistake and could never happen again. He seemed to understand, but the whole situation left me shaking. I thought I could keep this hidden and move on, but 4 days ago, those plans went flying out the window. Jake went through my phone while I was in the shower and found the messages between Adam and me. While the messages didn't explicitly describe our encounter, they were incriminating enough. Jake confronted me and I broke down, but I never admitted to anything physical. But he wasn't convinced and kept asking for details. What happened, why it happened, how long it had been going on. Finally, I had to explain that it was a one-time mistake, didn't disclose of sex though, that I regretted it deeply and I promised to cut off all contact with Adam. But Jake is rightfully hurt and feels betrayed. He told me that I shattered his trust, which I fully understand. I don't want to lose Jake. I love him, and I realize now more than ever how much our relationship means to me. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right, but I don't know where to start. Should I tell him everything he's asking for, even if it causes him more pain? How can I help him heal and rebuild our relationship? Update: it's over between me and Jake, BP. He told me he doesn't want to reconcile. He said I'm obviously hiding more, and he can't trust me when I say it was just groping. Since then, he's been giving me the cold shoulder, barely acknowledging my presence. He's told me I have until the end of the week to move out. I feel numb. I can't feel anything right now. I have nowhere to go. My family lives far away, and I went part-time at my job after I moved in with Jake because I've always wanted to be a homemaker. I've been reflecting a lot, and I realized that my lack of empathy and self-respect led me to make the worst mistake of my life. I wasn't thinking about the consequences or how my actions would affect Jake. Maybe I was trying to feel something, anything, whether good or bad. Between the day of the affair and when Jake found out, I tried to push it out of my mind. I intended to tell him, but I kept putting it off because I didn't know how. The guilt was eating me alive, but I was too cowardly to come clean. Since the day he found out, I've been an emotional wreck. I can't stop crying, and I feel like I'm drowning in regret and shame. Jake told me that if I had shown even an ounce of this empathy for him before the affair, things might have been different. He's right. I was selfish and didn't consider his feelings until it was too late. I wish I knew how to help him move past this. We both know I'll never do anything like that again or break his trust in any way. But he refuses to give me another chance, and I can't even begin to understand how to make him. Jake is the kindest, sweetest person I've ever met. I want to be with him forever, get married, have kids, grow old together. The future I envisioned is slipping through my fingers, and it's all my fault. It pains me so much to think about living the rest of my life knowing what I've lost. I don't think I'll ever forgive myself. I've been trying to give him space. I want to believe he'll reconsider, but every day he seems more distant. I've written letters apologizing, tried to talk to him, but he shuts me down. He says he can't look at me without feeling hurt and betrayed. Seeing the pain in his eyes is unbearable. I know some of you might think I deserve this, and maybe I do. I made a terrible choice, and now I'm facing the consequences. But I genuinely want to make things right. I want to show him that I've learned from this and that I can be the partner he deserves. I just don't know if he'll ever believe me. I'm scared about the future, about being alone, about starting over. But more than anything, I'm devastated at the thought of life without Jake. Story 2. Found out my 30mm wife, 28F, cheated on me while we were engaged. I proposed to the girl of my dreams in October last year after 4 years of dating. We're a normal couple, quirky and unique. Some personality differences, but nothing we couldn't agree to work on. We even volunteered for and attended some marriage preparation courses to prepare us for living with each other and reconciling differences through communication. So far, everything was great. In March this year, I got sent away to a foreign country for 3 months. We were saddened to be separated 6 months before our wedding, but we called and texted regularly throughout. However, she was a different person when I came back, argumentative and resentful. After a couple of big fights, we saw a marriage counselor, and she went off to them about how I was boring and rigid and never wanted to try new things. She also complained that I never wanted to socialize with her friends, and it was killing our relationship. I took the pointers and started working on them to better myself in our relationship, and we agreed to continue with our wedding. A couple of red flags appeared before the wedding. She used to allow me to use her phone without hesitation, and she was now defensive about it. I also found out she started smoking, which led to a huge argument, but we still worked through these things. Needless to say, the sex became nearly non-existent, and what little sex we had was completely unsatisfying. It was amazing most of the time before I left. I suspected she was cheating on me and tried my best to gather some circumstantial evidence to prove my theory. The wedding was a miracle, and everybody thought we were happy and in love. She moved in with me, and the bliss of being married made our first couple of weeks peaceful. She insisted on being allowed to go clubbing, and I allowed her to go party with her female friend. I've met her and she's cool. Despite my reservations about a married woman partying until dawn. However, my only request was that she inform me what time she was going to come home, and she failed to do this 3 times in a row. She went clubbing every weekend since she moved in. I got really upset at her on the first and second time, and she apologized. The third time it happened, I lost my shit and went to my parents to cool things off. She was desperate for me to come back and apologetic. I came back and began a tirade about how irresponsible she was. In the middle of my tirade, I let loose the evidence I had of her cheating, and she did admit she had been sleeping with a guy while I was overseas. A guy hit on her at the train station, and she ended up fucking him at his place 6 times and going for a holiday with him, where they fucked 8 to 10 times, according to her. She claimed to feel guilt. Her excuse? I felt lonely. So I wanted a different sexual experience. She also claimed that she cut things off with him after I came back. She also confessed to using Tinder, but claims that she never slept with anyone else but him. I spent some time thinking things over and sat her down to make an ultimatum. To not go clubbing more than twice a month and to inform me of the time she's going to come back. To attend couples marriage therapy to improve our marriage and address her desire to want to try multiple sexual partners. To have sex with me more often since we're married. To allow me unrestricted access to her phone. To give me reassurance that she's not cheating. I position these pointers as a means to win back my trust in this relationship, or we would have to end it. After 2 hours of deliberation on her part, she agreed to my pointers to stay in the relationship, but now has become angry and resentful at me because I am lousy at this relationship. I really don't know what to do with this woman. I love her a lot, and I've spent so much time caring for her emotional issues and helping her through her eating disorder. Visited her every day when she was warded at the start of our relationship. But now it feels like she's just keeping me around because I'm useful. Edit. All right, I've laid down my request for openness and honesty from her, and she has come clean. She had sex with 16 guys while I was away, and even after I came back, all off Tinder. She admits there's something seriously wrong with her, and we are going to see a counselor. Doubt this is going to work. Your wife has been unfaithful on a massive scale. Sleeping with 16 guys while you were engaged, and even after marriage, isn't a mistake or a lapse in judgment. It's a pattern of deliberate betrayal. Her excuses of feeling lonely or wanting different sexual experiences don't justify her actions. Marriage is built on trust, respect, and commitment, all of which she's disregarded. Setting ultimatums won't fix this. Trust, once broken at this level, is nearly impossible to rebuild without sincere effort from both parties. Her reluctance and resentment toward even basic boundaries show she's not committed to making things work. She's admitted there's something seriously wrong, but unless she's willing to take full responsibility and actively seek help, there's not much you can do. It might be time to consider ending the marriage. I know that's a heavy and difficult decision, especially after all the support you've given her through her struggles. But you can't fix someone who doesn't want to change, and it's not your responsibility to carry the weight of her actions. Focus on yourself now. Lean on friends and family for support, and consider seeking individual counseling to help you navigate this tough time. Remember, taking care of your own well-being is crucial. Wishing you strength and clarity as you move forward.